Hey, we're outside. Welcome to my channel, Grow Leafy. I'm Alethea, and it is a beautiful day. It is 65 degrees, and my family just decided let's go outside and just do some things to prepare for the season. And so we are going to check out the garden and see how things are going because it's been winter. We came out of the cold season, and there's some things that we need to get started. So here we go. So right now I'm just working on my garden plan actually, and have a rough idea of what I would like to do, but need to actually put the plan into place. I have started my indoor seeds already so that I am prepared to go ahead and transplant some seedlings or direct sow some seeds that need to be direct sown. So just to give an idea of what I had going on last year and what I might be doing this year, I still need to figure that all out. So what I did in the fall is I actually completely protected the soil. I filled it up, and I put in compost, some more soil. This was all in the fall, so that I didn't have that much to do in the spring. And then I went around my yard and collected just some leaves, dry leaves. I had some mulch that I had from the garden from last year, so that I covered it up. And as you can see, like, the soil is it's so soft and it's fluffy. It did really well, so I am really excited to see how things will produce this season. And I also had some onion starts that a neighbor of mine gave to me, which I planted. And so I'm going to pull those out. I'm not going to pull them out yet, but I'm going to pull those out. But I have been clicking the leaves so that I can, benefit from the chives itself. So, but in this bed, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to put. Last year I had peppers, but I'm thinking maybe I might put Swiss chard in it, or maybe even something that just needs to be just rooted, such as one of my root vegetables. And I'm not sure yet, so I'm just kind of just working that out. I still got to work out my plan. I've got little grow bags that are about that fit about 7-gallon size grow bags that I have around, that I can put in flowers, and I can put in other, I don't know what I'm going to put in them this year. I could put in definitely a lot of flowers, but I'm not sure which seeds I'm going to put in there. Maybe some herbs. Not sure yet. I got to work on my plan. So in this garden bed, last year I had beets in here, and I had also some squash. So this one wasn't covered up with a lot of leaves, but a lot more of mulch. But let's dig through and let's just see how things are. Soil's very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so that's looking really great. So I'm pleased to see that. And it's been protected from the very hard cold that we have had, and the snow, and I checked on the garden periodically throughout the winter, just looked at it, and everything seemed to be just fine. In this grow bag, I had chives last year, some onions, and look at that. And I left it in there on purpose. I just wanted to see what would happen. It went completely dormant, and then look, this is what happened when the spring came around. Just started growing again. Now this was an experiment I was doing. I was just like, well, let me just leave the chives. Not the chives, sorry. Let me just leave the cilantro. Let me just leave the cilantro in here and let's see what happens. They lasted definitely until December, or it was November, and then they went dormant, and I thought everything died, especially when it snowed. It was just, I was thinking that it was done. Then I just left it. I didn't take it out. I just left everything as is. And look at this. Beautiful. So yesterday I was able to come in and harvest some of these cilantros and put them on my foods, and I've had some really great meals with the cilantro, so it adds a great flavor. So I am thinking, I'm not sure whether I'm going to leave these right here and just see how long that they will grow. I don't want them to take over the garden, so I'm not sure about that. I am still learning a lot about gardening, but so far it hasn't taken over and grown everywhere. I might leave them there. I'm not sure yet. Still working on that plan. Garlic. So I have been able to harvest some garlic, and these stayed in all through the season. I planted these last year in the summer, and it was early on in the summer when I planted them, and they are doing well. I actually did harvest a few of these, and I was able to use them. The actual garlic is still very small. Maybe there's something else that I can do to maybe, have a better harvest, but it was still good. I would still be able to benefit from it. And what I did actually was just take one garlic clove that I had in my kitchen, and I just planted it, and I did one for each spot that you see here with the leaves. But the beautiful thing is, even though I'm not pulling them up, I could also clip here and benefit from the taste of the garlic through these leaves. Over here last year I had tomatoes, and I'm thinking that I might possibly move peas over here since it's more of a cooler crop. There's more shade because of the trees that we have that's over here. This is a fruit tree. It's a persimmons, and so there's a lot of shade. So I might put the peas over here on this side. I may move the tomatoes somewhere over there. I do have a trellis over here. I don't know if you can see that. Outside of here, it's back here. This is a metal cattle panel that I have purchased, and I've already kind of cut it down to size. It was much wider than that, and so what I could do is actually make another trellis and trellis it up right here. So I have 3 trellises that my husband and I worked on and we put in the garden. That's one. Here's the second one, and then here's the third one. So my main focus today is to get the peas sown into this spot here, and then I may also go ahead and sow some Swiss chard as well. I do have Swiss chard growing on the indoors, and that's something that I'm experimenting and wanting to see how that grows, because I do well growing other leafy type greens, but I do want to get some Swiss chard direct sown. It is a cool crop. I got to see how it germinates and see if it does germinate well, because it is still before our frost date. I am not putting anything else in the garden because I would not want to kill it, but I'm just going to try and see how the Swiss chard does do and see if it does germinate. And if it does not, that is fine. I do have it growing indoors, and then I can always plant some more later on in the season. But I'm just doing an experiment, and we'll just see how that turns out. But I will go ahead and get started with the peas. Sorry about the extra noise that you're going to hear in the background, but we are working outside and we're getting a lot of things done. And so I wanted to actually show you the plan of the garden that I did come up with. I just went ahead and did it. It just made sense because I knew that I had to put peas and Swiss chard down. So I just went ahead and worked out the garden plan. So I actually want to show that to you today. So I have a 20 by 20 garden area that I'm working with. And the area that I showed you earlier in this video, this is the entrance area. And then I have 2 4x4 round galvanized round metal bins, that you would say. And there's no bottom to it, so it's touching. So the bottom of it will allow for any kind of worms to be able to come in there, and whatever needs to come in there just to work through the soil and to aerate it. And there's just no limitations from the garden soil connecting with the earth and connecting with the ground. So I am going to put squash, summer squash, in both of these. So summer squash will go in both of these. And then above here, these are about 5 by 4. It's still about 4 feet by 4 feet, but they're just more rectangular type shape. But here I'm going to put some more of my squash, tomatoes. I'm going to put tomatoes here, a melon, the cilantro's right here as well. I'm planning on building a trellis, another one that will go here, so that the melon and the spaghetti squash that's on this side will be able to grow up the trellis. So we're going to build a trellis that will go over here. And then we also have winter squash and some more tomatoes at the back here. I was kind of contemplating what I was going to do with this spot here with the tomatoes. I think I'm going to fill this whole bed with tomatoes because there is space to do that. Maybe about 2 plants at most. 3 might be pushing it. Probably more like 2 plants. And then over here I've got the beets and the peas. Will be over on this side here. Peas, cucumbers, and that will be growing over on a trellis. And then surrounding the base area here and here will be Swiss chard. That will be all Swiss chard. And I have a lot of trees that surround the garden area, and so the trees will help to keep that area kind of cool for the peas and keep it a little shaded for the Swiss chard as well. But let me go ahead and just show you where I've actually already direct sowed the peas. I went ahead and picked that area over there. What I was showing you on the paper, that's where the peas and the Swiss chard have been planted. So let's go over there and see. You're going to see my shadow a little bit, of course, because of the sun. And so the Swiss chard went all around the side there, and then also right down here went the Swiss chard. And then as well, you're going to see my shadow. I wish I had a better footage for you, sorry. Swiss chard went there, peas went over there, behind the trellis, but at the base area. And then also the Swiss chard went down here, and then behind the trellis, like right over here. When I say behind the trellis, I mean just right back here is where I planted the peas as well. So I planted actually 4 peas. So there's 8 plants in total, or 8 seeds sown for the peas. And then I direct sowed the Swiss chard 1 inch apart. I'll probably have to do some thinning. I know that once they start sprouting and growing, I'll need to thin it out because I know they're going to need more space than that to mature into full plants. But just to give you just a kind of a general idea of where I planted this is where it's all going to be happening this season. The last thing I need to do actually is water this. You know, I don't need to water it all the time as frequently like I would in the summer because it's still pretty cool, but I still need to go ahead and water it. Hopefully these seeds will soak this up. The next time we will have rain will be in 2 days. If this video was helpful to you, please go ahead and press the like button on this video. And if you have not already, subscribe to my channel because I'm going to have many, many more videos that will be coming to you. Please go ahead and make any comments that you like, or if there's any questions that you have, so that I can continue to create content that really meets your needs. But just to remember, just to go ahead and just start planting, doing something, whether it's indoors, whether it's outdoors, and just remember to grow leafy, and I will see you next time.